Today I'm going to walk you through my content production process. As you may know, I run a YouTube channel called Iron Codes and I post a video every week on Friday. So I'm using a certain structure in order to produce these videos. It's actually, when you take a look at it, it's pretty elaborate. There's like deadlines and categories and all sorts of things. Now you might wonder, how is that even doable? Why do you actually do that? Doesn't that turn creating content into like a boring job or something? And actually it's the other way around. I feel like by introducing a bit of structure, by organizing myself in this way, it helps me actually not be too stressed about it and know that, okay, you know, if I follow this process, then everything is going to be in its right place and I don't have to worry about it. And it gives me a bit more freedom to focus on the creative aspect of producing content. Now, I'm not saying that you should go as far as I go with this. I guess it also depends on the type of content you produce. I mean, if you mainly write posts on LinkedIn, for example, you probably will use a very different pipeline than me because I'm using, all sorts of different things. And I have a video editor, so there is like an editing process and there's a ton of things to do in order to publish your video on YouTube, and you need to take that into account. What I want to show you today is basically my setup, and then hopefully it may be of some use to you and you can take some of the ideas of how I'm doing it and apply it to your own content creation. The main tool that I use for producing my content is Notion. And in essence, what I'm doing there is that I have a Kanban board which contains the whole pipeline of the video production. So as you can see, this is what that Notion page looked like. So this is basically where I organize literally everything surrounding my content. And I have this sort of Kanban board with different stages. So let me show you quickly what I have. So there's backlog. That's basically ideas that I have that I want to do in the future. So I just write them down here so I can come back to them later. So each card in here is one video. That's also important to know. Then I have research. That's actually videos that I'm actively working on. So I may be creating code examples for those. I might look things up on the internet to make sure the script is accurate, etc., etc. Really just background research, basically. Then there's writing, where I'm actually actively writing the script, also doing things like maybe there's a sponsored section, I need maybe a call to action to a lead magnet, or I want to mention a course, or anything that I want to put in there. This stage is really focused on writing and making sure that the script is good, that there's a good introduction, a good hook, and that the script flows nicely. Then there's review. So actually in the past I did more here, but now basically when I'm done writing, I basically move the script in here in review, and then maybe 1 or 2 days later, when I've taken some distance from it, I look at it one more time to make sure, it's accurate and it's what I want it to be. Then there's production, where I actually produce the video. So this is where I do the recording, etc. Then there's editing, goes to the video editor. So I have to prepare the project using Final Cut Pro, and then we start editing the video. There's some back and forth there. I'll talk more about that in a minute, until we have a version that is ready. You also see that there is some extra information here, like who is currently working on the video. There is a category, like what type of video is this? So this is a video about a Python feature. Is it sponsored or not? And there's also a reference. So this is a reference that I use throughout the whole process and also used in different files. So this, for example, is also the name of the Final Cut Pro project. So we can easily link it to this video. And this is also reflected in the folder structure of my code example. So if this video has a code example, this will be under 2025/standard. So things are easy to find that way. Then there's publication prep. So that's basically when the video is uploaded to YouTube. We want to add metadata, the thumbnail, descriptions, that kind of thing. So that's what we do here. Then there's scheduled. So we know the video is scheduled to go live on a certain date. And finally, there's published, which is, well, that's when the video is published. We may still do things here, like move it to an optimization stage where we try to do some A/B test with titles or thumbnails, depending on how the video is doing. So this is my overall content pipeline. This is the overall process. Now, I don't do all of these things every week because you would just go completely insane. I batch things. So I record basically every month, every 4 weeks, I record 4 videos. And in between, I work on all the other steps. So I work on the research, on writing new scripts, putting things in the backlog, ideas that I have or ideas that I get from my audience that all go back in here. And actually doing this batching of things makes things a lot easier because that's just one time that I have to switch on all the lights and prepare the gear and set up everything and then just do the recording. And I don't have to think about all the other stuff. So that's actually really helpful. And same for writing. I can just spend time writing multiple scripts at the same time and switch between them when I'm kind of sick of one topic and I want to switch over a bit. So doing content in batches is actually really helpful, and I highly recommend that you also do that if you're producing content. It makes it just your life a lot easier if you do it. Now, just for fun, let's take a look at one of these cards and see what is actually inside here. So like I mentioned, there is a couple of things like, is it sponsored? What the category of this video is, the reference, etc. But there's also some dates here. So this video is going to be published on September 5. So that's, if you watched this before, you now have some insider information. But we also have some other dates like the rough cut and the fine cut. So these are basically 2 steps in the editing process. So the rough cut is basically we take all the footage that we have, me talking to the camera, audio files, screencasts, things like that. We put it together, and in the rough cut, we basically remove all the mistakes and do a very rough edit. No effects, no titles, nothing. Just removing the stuff that's not supposed to be in the video. I review that typically when I get that, give some feedback. Maybe I will put some overlays on top of the video or think, oh, wait, that part is actually should be longer, or we can actually cut it. Some minor cleanup. And then there's the fine cut. And that's basically the place where we add the titles, where we do all the effects and everything. Now, my videos are not that involved, but still, you know, sometimes you want to switch between full screen camera and just a code editor, for example, or maybe you want to move, zoom in a bit. There's like things like that you want to do. So that's the fine cut. And then finally, we have the publication date. And when it's published, we're going to put the URL to the video here so it's easy to find. Now, as you can see, that's my face. This is the thumbnail that we have for this video. We have some ideas for titles. This is not complete yet. I want to add some keywords. There should be a description. And then there's the actual script. So here the script is actually something that I write beforehand. I don't completely write this out word by word. I feel like it's more natural if I just write down the phrases and I just talk about it. It's mostly these types of bullet points. I do use AI to help me write some of these parts, but it's really just a starting point. Normally I edit like a ton of things. I have to change plenty of things. It's never happened that any piece of the script that came from AI is actually directly usable. I always have to change a bunch of things. So it's really more of a tool for me to not have to type everything. I find editing and moving things around and rephrasing stuff is a bit faster than having to type everything from scratch. So it's nice to have a starting point. And then there are some extra things like these call to actions that I like to add because they help with engagement. So that helps me reach more people, and doing that kind of stuff is just nice. And then there's other things like, for example, I have a writing checklist to make sure that all of these things are in there. Or I have a code example checklist to make sure that I do the important things in a code example. And then there's also the publication checklist. Is there a thumbnail? Is there a description? Is there a Git repost? Or are there links, etc., etc.? So this helps me organize everything surrounding publication of videos. And for me, this process has worked already for years. I've been, tweaking this here and there, removing some properties or adding some as I thought that would be useful. But overall, for me, this works really well. It's really easy to manage, and it helps me keep my sanity. There's one more thing that I want to show you, and that's another board. And this is the basic board that I use to collect ideas. Now, I do have the backlog in the other common board that I showed you, but I get a ton of requests from the audience members in comments of videos that I could do. So I'm often just collecting these ideas somewhere so that I can sometimes go back to them and take a look at them here and then put them in my content schedule if I want to do video about it. So basically, if somebody asks for a video, I will often go in here and create a card, and I organize it by category. So there's personal development, there's programming concepts, Python features, software design, software testing, systems and architecture, and so on and so on. And what I often do when I plan my content is that I try to make sure that I have a good mix of these topics. So I don't have 4 software testing videos in one batch, for example, but that I have a Python one and a software design one and maybe a systems and architecture video. So for me, that helps me produce content that's balanced, that touches on different subjects. At the same time, of course, you also have to make sure that you're doing things that your audience likes. If you notice that, well, in my case, my audience mainly likes stuff I do about Python features and software design. So I do tend to do more videos about these topics than any of the other topics. But, sometimes I just like to change things up a bit and do things a bit differently. So this is my schedule. I hope this gives you some ideas of what you could do in your own schedule, and maybe it gives you some ideas on how you can structure it better and make it easier to manage for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of this structure. Let me know how you would do things, how you do things. Would you do things differently? Do you have any suggestions for how you can better structure creating content, whether that's for YouTube, LinkedIn, Medium, anything else? Just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.